and I'll intro us, and then we'll go for 30 minutes. And
Okay.
of course, the name of it.
Jamie, get comfortable. Pull
Yeah.
that microphone wherever you want it.
Yeah, get it where you want it.
Just
I'm
make
good.
yourself
I'm trying to
comfortable.
make it block my chin.
I've got my chin blocked.
Yeah, say
I know. See, that's what I said to Rod. I said, Rod, you guys are so lucky.
I'm gonna tell you the
But you
last
can grow a
time that
beard.
I shaved my beard off, I did something I hadn't done in 20-something years. I took my trimmer and I took the guard off of it, and I didn't realize that I had forgotten how close they cut. It was almost like shaving, and when I did it, I saw how my face is just like, it's like hanging down on the sides. It's like sagging. And I told my wife, I said, you don't have to worry about ever seeing that again. I said, you won't see that when you,
won't
see
see
me,
that
my
again.
face for the last time. When they
Oh
close
my
the lid,
God.
I'll have the beard. Not maybe this much of a beard, but I'll have the beard
When they
because
close the lid.
you can see, or I could put back on a bunch of weight and that'll fix it. Got a call last night from an old friend's wife.
What
said
Rod
I
did
hate
was
to
the same
bother
thing.
you.
He shaved it off to please our daughter and me. And
Don't do it.
and he shaved it off, and then he went, holy crap. And he goes, not without some plastic surgery. I'm not doing this again.
That's me. I'm like, good night.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. But see, that's what's not fair. You guys can hide crap under there. Look.
absolutely.
Look at this.
And
So what,
I might just have to be the bearded lady in the next circus.
I don't have this big old thing like a male turkey yet, but boy, I see it on a lot of people in our business when they're singing and stuff.
It might be under all that hair.
But guess
We don't
what?
know. It's so bushy.
Who's gonna know?
No one's gonna
Look
know.
at that.
No one's going to know. On Thanksgiving Day, you can eat all you want.
Oh, I'm gonna eat it anyway. I don't care if my head falls off.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Well,
We've been talking about the menu for a week
Have
in
you?
my family. Oh, yeah. We
What's
go
on
back
it?
and forth and back and forth.
What's on it?
Well, you got your Aussie roasted potatoes because I'm Australian and my dad's from New Zealand, and that's what we like over there. And you got this year I'm making bananas Foster, which
Oh,
is a
that's
dessert.
good.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
like
I know
my
what it
favorite
is.
dessert. I can whip that up in about 6 minutes.
I might say it, like I said your perfume that time. But,
Oh,
but,
Di Vinci?
yeah, Di Vinci. But
He's like, what's that perfume you're wearing? And I said, something Givenchy. And you said, what is that? And I said, something de Givenchy. And you said, Di Vinci, what? It was pretty funny. You had to be, there.
That's not one of them West Tennessee words either.
It was
is
funny to her, funnier to us at the time.
It was
Wasn't
really
Darryl?
funny.
It was
You're right.
hilarious.
she called me right out on it.
Because we both rode at the same
Yeah.
at EMI
At
together,
EMI.
so we used
Yeah.
to see
That's
each
right.
other around campus.
I'm gonna tell you what's hilarious. I did not know is that your daddy was from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but several years ago, I got invited to Fiji to do a country music festival, and there's a guy in town that works for Steve Smith and all that network of clubs and stuff. He's in that Steve Smith world. His name is John Stone.
Mhm.
Great guy, good friend of mine, and a good artist too. Really good guitar player. And he called me up. He's the one that was going over, and he said, "Man, these people are wanting you to come do this country music festival in Fiji." Anyway, long story short, we did it. We had no idea that there was a cyclone in the southern hemisphere in the Pacific, and it was actually the second largest cyclone to ever be in the southern
Oh
hemisphere.
my gosh.
So when we left LA to fly to Fiji, the cyclone had passed, and we landed in Fiji, and the cyclone had gone out into the sea and made a U-turn and was coming straight back at the island, and
Oh my
we
gosh.
were there for a direct hit.
Wow.
We saw 180 something, almost, well, maybe it was closer to 200-mile-an-hour winds. I'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
But the funny part that I was going to tell you is I laugh about how country we are down where I come from. But those New Zealanders
Mm-hmm.
were at this festival, and I promise you this is how they said Fiji. Now, maybe that's just how it's said over there, but they said, I bet you could say it before I do, and you probably know how they say
Fiji.
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 They'd go, well, we came over to Fiji
We came
they say,
over to Fiji.
they say we come over to Fiji for holiday. They call vacation holiday.
Sounds a lot like Forrest Gump to me.
We're going on
You know?
holidays. I can really do Australian more than I can New Zealand because I don't know. I
But is
spent
it
so
really
much
that
there.
different? Is it that different?
We went on holiday. We go on holidays. I mean, yeah. It depends on how long and what part you're from. Because I do kind of what they call the Aka version of Australian, which is like, way out in the, fair income. It's not like the Nicole
That
Kidman.
sounds-
Nicole Kidman is the
wow.
lovely version of an Australian
Well, what you
accent.
just did sounds like British, like a Cockney version of British.
Wow.
It
'Cause
kinda
that's
is.
country.
Yeah, I guess it's called Aka.
That's
yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you wait, Henry Higgins. Yes, you wait.
That's going to be a great clip. I can't
Henry
wait.
Higgins. Yeah,
That's going to be a great
I
reel.
want that on a loop, but only if he does a dance with it.
Oh, we can.
Oh,
we
Oh,
can
they
yeah.
can make a little. They'll take a little thing,
Oh,
and they'll
God.
just have
A
my head like
boomerang.
this.
Yeah, boomerang of that.
Yeah.
I'm putting it. It'll go viral.
Oh, you'll see they'll do a bunch of. I'm telling you, this might not be working as well as it is if it wasn't for these guys, because
Might not.
They're chopping this stuff
He does.
up.
Well, there's no might about it.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you'll
I'm going to sound brilliant by the end of this. I get it.
you'll hear something from your fan base about this. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
because it's working.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of which,
That's
we did shoot this episode about halfway backwards. So I'm going to roll back to the beginning and restart us.
Okay.
All of that's good. We'll use
Yeah, of
all of
course.
that.
Of
That's
course.
all fun, and we'll probably just keep the camera going because that's what we do too.
These will be the outtake bloopers,
We'll
yeah.
have bloopers and all those things. But like he's talking about, one of the things that's been so neat that we're getting to know, like he said, 1.5 million in just 3 short months. We want to make sure we give you a proper introduction. Y'all
Yes.
two sat down like old friends, and y'all
Well, we are.
and y'all are, and
Yeah.
I love that, and that's why
Right.
that's why he calls it Sounds Like Life, is because that's so great. But I want to make sure we go back and hit the introduction
Sure.
piece, and we make sure people know who you are, where to find you, where to hear your incredible music. And so I'm going to let you do the introduction there.
Yeah, well, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here on our Sounds Like Life podcast with Darryl
Thank
Worley.
you. I'm thrilled
today.
you asked.
And everybody, this is my dear friend Jamie O'Neill,
Mhm.
incredible female country singer. But she mentioned this earlier that we started off at the same publishing company over at EMI, and I would run into her almost every day, and just a very sweet person, easy to talk to. But honestly, Jamie, at that time, I'd never heard you sing, so I
Yeah.
didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
She's a singer.
Yeah.
Aw.
I mean, and I don't
Just
say
real.
that
Yeah, you don't
unless
say
I
that.
mean it. And you know that I
Thank
feel
you.
that way, but you're a singer. I mean, you're a singer's singer. And if y'all didn't know this, there is no Arizona. That was one of her
Period.
big hits. I love
Stop.
just
End.
that's it.
Yeah.
I love
I love the way he looked
that
at the
song.
camera.
Yeah.
He's learning how to do this. He is
Yeah.
giving us a lot of credit. But if first couple times that he done this, he goes, "Which camera is mine?" And so now he's learning
Yeah,
which
there's
one's
no
on
red
him.
light for
and-
us to look for,
Right, they're
Like
all
the
red.
big,
How about that?
Yeah, right.
I'm getting
there
y'all
you
some
go.
stuff to work with here.
But yeah, if you don't remember how we used to go out for lunch
Yes.
sometimes and we would talk about managers
Yes.
and like I met with this person,
Yep.
I met with this person, and this person said that, and like starting out our careers, kind of
Mhm.
you bounce ideas or get
Absolutely.
info from your friends and find out. Well, if you do, I mean, Carolyn Dawn Johnson and I still do that.
I was so much older than most of the kids because I got a late start. When I signed at DreamWorks, they thought I was 25, but I looked really young. I had
Yeah.
that going for me at the time. It didn't
Yeah.
last long. Once you start hitting the road, that goes away pretty quick.
the grays come in real fast once you're out on the road. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
but I
funny.
mean, it was a little bit different for me. I watched the kids, and I was like, they'll go in there and sign anything, and I didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't want a record deal that bad. I was
Yeah.
really. It's like I told them, we were talking about it on another episode. I said I wasn't really looking for a record deal. I was very content at that point to write some songs. But we've had a lot of success. I'm not complaining. It's worked my tail off and keeps
I
us
mean,
away
I
from
always
home.
come from the standpoint that even if nothing had ever happened, I'd still be singing somewhere. You know, like I
No
would
doubt.
still have a band.
Me too.
I would still be, I don't know if I'd be writing songs all the time just because it's so busy when you're out on the road playing.
Right.
And and even before that, I used to play 5 nights a week in the same places that Keith
Ooh.
Urban played. Back in Melbourne, he and I played a lot of the same clubs
Oh
with our
wow, I did not
bands.
know that.
Mm.
Yeah. And maybe I'd play on a Thursday, he'd play on a Friday, that kind of thing. So it's
I
not
didn't
like
know
we saw
that.
each other all the time, but that's when I first met him over there. And it was so busy. It's like 3 and 4 sets a night, 5 nights a week. And then during the day I would sing jingles
See, I've done all that.
Mhm.
yeah, so it's like we would still probably be doing that even if we hadn't have made
Right.
it. Maybe not to that extent
What I
because we
would
probably would have
probably
gone
be-
into something else, but
I would have definitely been writing songs because that's just
that's
and
second
I
nature.
still do
yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but I don't get to do it as much as I'd like
Yeah.
when I'm this busy. And we've been
Yeah.
busy. This year was so last quarter of this year was my best quarter in 12 and a half years.
That's fantastic.
I mean,
Yeah.
something's happening. I
Yeah,
don't I mean,
know.
I've
That's
been the
great.
naysayer. For 20 years, I've said, yeah, it's coming back. Where is it? If it's coming back, have y'all seen it? Because I didn't believe any part of that. It just seemed to me like it was getting further and further away from what I do.
Yeah.
And
It seemed like that. And I think we did go through a trend of that and it was disheartening.
Was for
but
me.
I feel like a lot of people got so tired of a certain sound that was very one way
right.
and they missed, thank God, they missed real country music and they
Mhm.
missed, and I give credit to a lot of this to Lainey Wilson because
Yeah.
I think her being such a real person, knowing who she is and sticking to her guns reminded me, it's not like she was like, hey, let's put finger snaps on this. Let's
Right. Let's
let's
put a
do a
loop
bunch
on
of
this.
programming. I can't do this and I can't do that.
Right.
No, she came in with a heavy accent, a cowboy hat, boots, buckle. She's going to be who she is. And it kind of brought back some other artists who maybe
I agree.
weren't happening either like they would have liked to have stayed. And it brought them back because that authentic sound of the artists who are authentic, it's just come back around. And I love it because now I'm like, yes,
Oh.
yes, country
So do
music.
I.
Because I just made a new album and I went back in my catalog and I cut the songs. Because at this point, we're just going to cut what we love. We're going to write what we love.
Oh, of course.
Instead of trying to chase something that's just like the
Well,
invisible
we
ghost.
should have never ever done that in the first place. And I
Right.
say this all the time. And I learned this in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. That was my first writing gig. I wrote for Rick Hall there at Fame.
Oh, wow.
And I had mentors unbelievable, like Walt Aldridge and
yeah.
all those, Mark Narmore.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
I could name the names. Robert Byrne was there.
Mm,
And so it goes on and on and on. But
yeah.
they said as long as you're chasing that trend, you can count on not having any hits
Right.
because you've got to
Right.
be out in front of that
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
way behind it. You got to do
Mhm.
something completely different. And so country music, it's not that complicated.
Yeah.
It's really not that complicated. Somebody said to me the other day, like if a real country came back, like late 80s and early 90s country came back, would you be able to cash in on the songwriting? And I said, I can write 3 of those a day, good ones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, we've done it.
Yeah.
And turn around and get 2 of them put on hold the next day. I mean, I missed that so bad.
That was so fun.
That was what was happening in Nashville when I moved there.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. It was like electric.
Yeah.
And then there was a music row and it was for real.
Yeah.
And people were going from
And we
this.
used to go from a writing room, like at EMI had all those writing rooms, and you could go have lunch and come back and write
Yes.
again. And
Yes.
so
Peop-
fun.
People heard about me and Steve Leslie writing Second Wind. People heard about it all over the building. And we'd get about 2 lines done and somebody else would stick their head in and we'd have to play what we had.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it happened all day long because
Mhm.
people were going, man, they're killing one down there. It's going to be powerful, strong. And
Yeah.
I'll just never forget it. I was talking to Steve not too long ago and he was kind of reliving how we started that song. And I was like, I didn't remember, but he did.
It was such a fun time. That's why I kind of think of it as like the campus, the EMI campus.
It was. And people were crossing the road from other publishing companies and we're all doing stuff together.
And we all loved hearing everybody's songs and just saying, have you heard this song? Have you heard that song? And I mean, nowadays, I wonder, I guess people are just kind of writing in their houses. I mean, that's normally what I do, or on Zoom.
But
But it's not fun. It's not as much fun as it was back then.
That's hard for me.
Yeah.
They even some of the older guys at that time, I'm the older guy now, but I'm just saying some of the guys that were much older than me then said, I've been here for this many years and it's never been like this. This is the best time. We lived through that.
Yeah.
Music Row was never better than it was when we were doing what we were doing. I do believe that.
Yeah.
And it was, like I said, it was electric.
It was like late 90s.
Yes.
90. I mean, I moved here in 96 and I signed with EMI.
You
think
fell right
in 98.
You fell right in the middle of it because it kind of started to ramp up in 93, 94.
Yeah.
And by the time you got here, it was full on, buddy.
It was a lot of fun.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
I remember thinking,
and I mean, we're still out here making a living doing music, so it doesn't suck.
I'm not complaining.
It's still awesome. It's just I'm glad, like you said, you just had
memories.
one of your best years, and it's like it's come back around to where I think people have missed the 90s. I didn't even come out till 2000, but
I didn't
they still
either.
think of me, and they probably think of you as a 90s artist because
they do.
we encompass that sound that's like
right.
early 2000 sound.
But
and,
there
people
was
have
only
missed
a
it.
few of us that took that stuff into the 2000s. They were already really trying to change it. I'll never forget Scott Borchetta came to me and we were getting ready to release I Miss My Friend, which was my first #1 song. And he goes, hey, you want to put a loop on that? And I went, And he goes, why would you not want to? I said, because that ain't like any part of who I am, and why would I want to? You already told me it was going to be my first #1. Why would I want to change my first #1?
Yeah.
And so, but we tried to make records that were somewhere between that and what they were pushing us toward, and we made it work for a while.
Yeah,
you know. I think we did similar things. You got to make it work. It's got to.
Yeah, it's amazing. We kind of came out at the same time, and there were so many great artists that came out then. That
do you remember when we did the class of 2000 when they didn't put any of us on a New Faces show,
including
so we did our own
Rascal Flatts. We did our own.
we did. It was called
the
the
Wild Horse
class of 2000, and so they said that the crowd at the other thing, which was the industry thing, was minimal.
Really?
You couldn't breathe in the Wild Horse. It was Russel Crowe was there.
That's cool.
Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Russell Crowe was there.
I'll have to look that up.
All
That's
kinds
neat.
he was my ex.
Oh.
So, but what's weird is he was riding motorcycles through Nashville, and he just saw that I was with the Wild Horse that night.
I didn't know he was your ex.
Yeah, he saw my name and bebopped in
I had
and
no
said,
idea.
"Hey."
Sorry.
And I was like, "What?"
I
yeah,
did
so
not.
he came down with us to the I mean, he was there at that show.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Then we all went to After Midnight. You remember that?
I
We all
do.
went to After Midnight dressed up in disco suits and got up and he got up and sang.
I totally remember that. I was trying to remember what I sang down there, but the Flats were the band. The Rascal Flats was the band for that.
Yeah, yeah.
God, that was fun too.
I was gonna say, getting back to the songwriting thing, one thing that really bothers me, and thankfully it's not, I'm sure, happening anymore, but like with some artists, newer artists I would write with, they would say, we'd start to write on something and I'd say, I think that's too country for me
God,
or whatever.
see.
And I'd say, there is no such thing as too country. You're in Nashville and you're going to say that's too country? Like, what are you doing here? Anyway, just a little
That's
sidebar
painful.
story.
Oh, I'm
It's
gonna
not
tell you
annoying.
something.
We probably
It's
talked about
ridiculous.
I'm gonna tell you
on another
something.
one.
Those are the people, and they can tell you, and there's a bunch of them, that when that happened to me numerous times, so I would immediately start trying to get them to go to an early lunch, and then I just didn't come back. I didn't.
I believe that.
And they would ask
Right.
me a lot of times. They
Text
say,
and say, look, call me in 5 minutes and tell me there's an emergency. I'll be home in 10.
Yeah.
well, they
Man.
would see me somewhere, and they'd go, "Hey, man, we didn't finish our song." I'd just say, "Man, I don't know. There's no love in the room."
Yeah. And if it's
It
not
was-
real, it's not.
Well, when there's, when you're like coming from just so far apart, it ain't gonna come together. It's
No.
like what?
Yeah.
And the
And
last
it's
thing,
awful when they love something and you think it's mediocre, because my whole thing is I don't really want my name on it. You
Yeah.
know,
I
so I
can't
think
do
it's
that.
important to be honest. I think
It
it's
is very
important
important.
to say, look, or if they say, "Oh, I think it's great," or "I think it's great," and you know that they've just done it so that the words would rhyme, and you just think, "Yeah, but it's not good enough." That's why I get disheartened. That's when I don't want to, write every day. It's just like
Yeah.
Well,
I'd
they
rather put my leg in a blender than go through this. Please, God.
in the
That's another reel right there. We'll keep
in
that one.
in the Ninja.
Yeah.
You can just see that leg.
Oh, yeah.
You can just see that leg going down in there slowly, but like
We were-
steadily.
Well, there's three. So there's I'd rather put my leg in a blender. I'd rather give birth to twin porcupines,
Hmm.
or I'd rather give birth to a dining table.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
But those
antique furniture
visuals-
that'll do it.
Yeah, those visuals are.
Oh God,
Anyway.
that's funny.
I think you're on in 5.
I was
No.
going to say, you laugh.
Chapel
I'm
Hart-
actually just, I'm looking
Chapel
up
Hart
at the
has
monitor.
already been on, and I
They've-
think Daryl's next.
Well, you're okay time wise, but we probably
Oh.
do need to go ahead and wrap this because I think they're doing their auction part now, and you've got
Oh, okay.
you got a few minutes before you go on stage.
so I can go
but
to the bathroom.
I'd love for you to bathroom break because there's been times before we've gone too long, and then he just has to run on stage.
But
and
that's
go.
what's
That's
cool
funny.
about
That's funny.
taking all this gear and going out and doing this remotely is that little comments like this wind up on the
Yeah.
show because we're here to play.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
And it's cool. It's
and they're
so cool that you
they've
get
been
to do
kind
that.
enough to come in tonight and take their time because a lot of people like to sit and get all. This is
Yeah.
good for me because if I think about my show too much, I'll psych
your way
myself
out of it.
out.
Yeah.
So this keeps me busy doing
And
other
I was
stuff.
singing a duet with Ty, and it's one that we put out last year. So we haven't sung it since last year, and we did not rehearse. And so anyway, he came out. He had the lyrics written down on the stage, and he comes off and he goes, "I think that went pretty well." And I said, "You messed up like 5 times. If that's pretty well,
they
I'd hate,
do a lot of stuff
if
together.
that's pretty well, I'd hate to see bad. What? No, yeah, I
They
like to
do
give,
a
I
lot of
like to
stuff.
give him a hard time because we will have he's allergic to rehearsal and he's allergic to
Oh,
sound check.
Trust me, I know.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
I know. But what a singer.
you know what it is, and he doesn't even warm up. He comes
I don't
out
either. I don't know how to
and
do
he sounds incredible. I mean, you guys all sound the same, you know. Andy Griggs is another one who's
He's a
like
great singer.
you, Andy
Mm.
Griggs, Ty Herndon, Billy Dean. Yeah, I mean, you all
Just
sound
classics.
incredible.
Well,
and
that's
I
very
love
kind
doing
of you.
gigs with you. You and I have never played a show that where we're out there together.
No.
I've
no.
like opened for you, and I mean,
I've opened for you many
I
times.
can't remember though that we've done a show
We
together.
haven't.
So that's it.
No, we haven't.
Now we need to do either
That
a
sounds-
duet or
Girl, don't
show.
threaten me
I
with a
say,
good
you
time
know-
because I would
Yeah.
love that.
let's do it.
And what I can tell you is that I probably have the song because I
Okay.
love. If you wanted to do something that had a little hint of, you would say R&B, I would say Muscle Shoals.
yeah,
I've got some great songs for duets like that.
I would love to.
I mean, I'm talking really good songs.
yeah.
Me and Terry Clark almost did one, and it's a powerful song. And
Well,
it's
I've
and-
never heard you do anything bad.
and it has a little bit of that vibe to it, which I do a lot more of that stuff nowadays. That I ain't got somebody looking over my shoulder going, "No, that's When I came to Nashville, it was so weird you said what you said because when I came to Nashville, I wanted to cut like funky Muscle Shoals tracks and put my country ass voice on them,
Yeah.
and I thought that'll be different.
Yeah, that's
Right?
cool.
That'd be different. No, of course I got up there and they went, "Oh, you sing like Haggard, or you can sing like Keith Whitley, or you can sing like whoever." And so we're gonna make those kind of records, which was fine with me because
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
right.
So we did, and but it's just
Mhm.
I got a bunch of songs like that.
Let's do it.
I got a bunch
would
of
love
songs
to.
that I need to pitch you a couple songs.
No, here we go.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'd love to hear her voice.
ahead. Go ahead.
I
would
may
love
do that. Well, thank you.
Thank
This has
you
been
for having
wonderful,
me.
and I
Thank
hate
you.
to wrap it up, so I'll let Travis.
He'll let me wrap this one up.
Okay.
It has been an absolute pleasure
Thank you,
to just
Travis.
meet
Thank
you, and I can't wait
You
to
too.
see some of the more that you all do together, and it's going to be good
Well,
stuff.
I hope we. I hope you.
I'm gonna
you
say
got
it
enough
like
for
she
your
would.
show.
She's just a lovely person.
Just a lovely person.
She is, and I mean that all the way around.
That's
She's
so
a
sweet.
wonderful
Good.
person and a phenomenal singer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds Like Life with Darryl Worley is a Blue Spire music production. Hosted by Darryl Worley and Travis McLeese. Produced and edited by Mike Murphy and Sam Hudson. Set designed by Sam Hudson. Theme song Sounds Like Life to Me by Darryl Worley. Executive producers Paul Perry, Julian Drennan, and Travis McCleary.
But it's what I'm gonna say. Sounds like life to me.